Welcome to the Speakeasy and our new sit-down interview series called Whiskey Made Me Say It. We will interview the most interesting and humorous golfers, whiskey makers, and enthusiasts and enjoy their perspective on life. Sit back and enjoy Whiskey Made Me Say It.
All right.
Hey there, GolfCask Nation. This is Brian Bailie here bringing you Whiskey Made Me Say It. We have a special guest. And by special guest, yes, she is special, but she is our number one favorite golfer inside of the Pro Tour, inside of GolfCask. That is Lauren Coughlin. Lauren, how are you doing today?
Good, Brian. Thanks for having me.
I love having pro golfers here, right? So for those that don't know, last December we did an Irons and Oak event, and Lauren came out and absolutely wooed everybody in our crowd. She picked up 9 new fans immediately. The funny part is they text me when you're in it. Like sometimes I'm not even looking at the scoreboard and they're like, "Are you seeing Lauren? She's on TV today." And I'm like, "No, but I will go look at it right now." But Lauren is a LPGA player. Just got her first win, which now she's in the 1% club. That's on right. Tour. And then when she gets her second win, she'll be like in the 0.01% club, which is awesome. Having a great season. So Lauren, just give us a little idea of who you are, what you are, and we'll just talk a little golf today.
Yeah, my name's Lauren Coughlin. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia, but I've lived in Charlottesville ever since I stepped foot on grounds at UVA in 2011. Brian was my assistant coach at UVA. And yeah, I've been on tour since 2018 was my rookie year, kind of bounced around a little bit. And so I've been consistently on the LPGA since 2021. And yeah, just won for my first time. Going to be on the Solheim Cup team here in a couple weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I just did a whole thing on whiskey and golf, and we talked about time and maturation. So maturation would be how to age a whiskey, and you get flavor and complexity, and that's what makes it great. How does time and maturation, think about your journey when you started 2018, and all the chaos of trying to play professional golf too, all the way to winning your first event. What did that time, what did you learn, like some key points that you learned about yourself in golf?
Yeah, I think, 2017, my rookie year on the Epson Tour, and then 2018, my rookie year on the LPGA was very, very rough. It took a while to kind of get used to pro golf and what all that entails, traveling that much, being away from home. Definitely almost quit both times. But I kept at it, and yeah, I've improved every year since my first year of college in 2011. Which is pretty cool and pretty crazy when you really think about it. That was 13 years ago, and I think I've just gradually gotten better ever since then. Maybe not as quick as I would have liked at times, but everything worked out how it was supposed to. I think, yeah, I got used to traveling as much. I got used to staying on top of my game, different aspects of my game, what kind of works, what drills I need to do, what doesn't work, what does work, what am I really good at, what do I need to fine-tune. Yeah. And then just working on the weaknesses, but being able to maintain what I'm really good at.
Yeah, I always tell players, especially when they're going on tour, you're a freak at something. Like, to play at the highest levels, you've got to be really good at something. You won't be really good at everything, but there's something, and you need to protect the heck out of that.
Yeah.
Like put up fences, put up barriers, and make sure that nobody comes in and affects your freakness. Now you can elevate other pieces and allow people to help you there, but you got to protect that, because the day you give up your freakness, you destroyed your kind of DNA as a golfer, and see it a lot out there.
Yeah, I've had the same swing coach, pretty much, really since college. Kim Llewellyn was my head coach, and her husband now, John Llewellyn, has been my coach since, pretty much since I graduated 2017. And that's always been a strength of my game, is how well I can hit it, that's and cool. Off the tee and with my irons. And if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. He knows my swing better than anybody. Yeah. I'm pretty low maintenance on it, I would say. At this point, again, since I've had the same coach for so long, that most of the times I can fix it myself, and I very much own my golf swing. But, if I ever really need to, I can send him stuff, and he's got it like that.
That's cool.
Because it's usually one of a handful of things, but again, sometimes I can get it, but sometimes I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've been able to elevate my putting a lot this year, especially. But over the last couple of years, I had kind of started to get better and better in certain parts of it, and this year's really been the year that I've made the biggest stride.
That's cool. So think about I always talk about the cut line dance. Like when you first become a touring pro, your goal becomes, I need to make the cut, I need to make money, right? So in a game of variance, which golf is, right? So this cut line is going to be, it's a moving number, which makes it hard. Let's say cut line is going to be right around 3 under for this tournament. So after 2 days, for those that don't know much about golf, I need to be at 3 under or better to make it through the weekend.
And get paid.
To get paid. It's a meritocracy at its best, right? So here's this floating number. 3 could turn to 4, could turn to 5, depending on how people are playing. But all of a sudden, I set this goal at 3 under, and I know there's a variance in my game. I might shoot 3 under. I might play really well and shoot 1 under. I could play poorly, maybe shoot 4 under and still make the cut. So there's all these variance pieces moving. How did you learn to get away from the cut line dance? So if you're giving advice to that new pro that is stuck in cut line hell, what does that look like?
It's not fun. I've definitely been there. It's this weird, you don't really want to think about a number per se, but you kind of do. You can, just like you can kind of judge what the cut line's going to be, you can kind of guess what the final, what the winning score is going to be. And your body and the mind is crazy, and kind of wherever you feel comfortable and wherever you're trying to go, it's probably going to be right around that, unfortunately. And fortunately or unfortunately, depending on where you're focused.
Yeah.
And so eventually I just was able to get over it. But it was really just not really by me doing it, but other people being like, you can't keep thinking about the cut. You need to be thinking about being up at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And eventually I started to get just more comfortable thinking like, no, like I can be up there. I am good enough to be up there. And once that happened, that's when I started to kind of get over it. And now I don't even really think about the cut at all, really. I'm trying to shoot the best score I possibly can on that particular day, and that's all I'm really focused on.
Wow, that's something. There's something to be learned there. Shoot the best score you're capable of that day, and then I can't control what everybody else or what the line is doing.
No, but it's so hard. I mean, control, I very much I like control a lot, and like the thought of giving up control, but also just accepting what all I can control is me, has been the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That everything else is kind of outside of my control, and the only thing that I can control is my attitude, my process, just me in general.
Yeah. What was your first year at UVA?
The fall of 2011 was my first year.
2011. Wow.
Yeah. I know, it's a long time. I know, it's been
13 years?
That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. I helped recruit LC back in the day.
Yes.
So it was at
Kings Mill
in Virginia. She was playing. I was actually there to recruit a different athlete. And I was watching that athlete, wasn't really super impressed. And then there's this little skinny girl with the Oakleys.
Yep, I had the Oakleys.
Oakleys on. Couldn't see her eyes the entire time, but I was like, man, she gets it. Didn't play great when I was watching.
No, unfortunately.
But I remember getting on, I sent a text out to Kim. We were a couple holes in, and I'm like, who is this girl? She's from Virginia. Have we any information on her? And Kim's like, I don't know. So I contacted our secretary that managed our databases, and she goes, yeah, she sent us a letter, so-and-so. And I was like, well, we need to reach out to her again. But again, I think, so here's the beauty of recruiting, right? A lot of it is blind luck. A lot of it, I think data science has helped, but I still think a lot of it is fluky and kind of chaotic, and there's a lot of money.
There's a feel. There's like a feel you can kind of.
But there's the AJGA corruption syndicate, and then there's other syndicates. It's just it's wacky. So thinking back now to you and God, what was that? Probably 2009?
Probably 2009, yeah.
So thinking back at 2009, and think of what coaches said to you, like kind of that. What positives and negatives did you receive during the recruiting process?
I mean, I wasn't very highly recruited. I went on some visits and did some things, but I tried to commit a couple times, and both coaches didn't really want me. One said I probably wasn't never going to play there, and so that was tough. But I think, I don't know if it motivated me, but I ended up where I was supposed to be. Is what ended up happening. I ended up at Virginia with you and Kim, and it was exactly where I was supposed to be. I don't think if I ended up going anywhere else, I would be here today.
Yeah. You wouldn't have met John either.
No, I would have met my husband. I mean, there's just so many things that I don't
I take full credit for that.
There's just so many things that I don't think would have happened had it not.
Yeah.
So just, I don't know, it's just, I feel like something that I've just noticed and kind of took to heart, when I'm trying to figure something out in terms of who's going to caddy for me, who's not. I try not to stress too much. It's all going to work out how it's supposed to.
Yeah, I think it's funny because, especially for any junior parents out there, just because a coach says no doesn't mean your athlete's not going to make it to whatever aspect they're trying to achieve. I mean, I've known enough college coaches, and a lot of them are buffoons. A lot of them are great. There's some spectacular, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of buffoons out there. So again, to allow a person to put value of what they say and what you can achieve, don't fall for that. Do not fall for that. And again, if your goal is to play professional golf, you set a goal, chase it. Like you said, get better every year. And I think that's the really cool piece is, when I look at coaches and I evaluate college teams and even professionals, if you see a gradual growth, that means that team is moving in the right direction, things are going. If you see players stagnant or going in the reverse direction, tells you that whatever the system is for that player is not working very well. So that's a great tidbit also for college or parents. I just did a video a couple weeks ago when I actually used Wake Forest. We went through their archives, and you saw gradual growth through Kim Llewellyn's program. Each player getting a little bit better every year, and that's what you want to see from a coaching staff. That is players getting better. You don't want to see the exact opposite, where the teams get the best recruits and they get worse and worse and worse. So that would be my tidbit of information, and I guess some free advertising for Wake Forest women's golf. Kim Llewellyn. Yeah, she's awesome. I love Kim. Worked with her for 9 years?
Yeah.
She was my work wife.
She was.
Yeah, she was phenomenal. And of course, John Llewellyn's spectacular as well. So now, professionally, now it's like you're in a different class. You're competing in majors, last group, on TV, you just won Solheim Cup. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't think, up until last year, I'd never even really thought about it, that it was like a realistic goal. And then Spain happened, and I think I heard just through the grapevine that I might have been like kind of someone that they were thinking about just at the back of their mind if something crazy were to happen. And that was kind of like, oh, okay, like I can, I guess, be on the Solheim.
There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, and so I think I heard about that afterwards, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be on the Solheim Cup next year. I just kind of was like, I think I'm good enough. I think I'm capable of doing it. And so I kind of started saying it like a year ago that I was going to do it, and that was my goal, and that was what I was working towards. And it was kind of rough in the beginning of the year. I mean, I was still playing good golf, but I was definitely like really nervous about it and really putting a lot of pressure on getting to that goal. And so again, I kind of just finally
it's kind of like the cut line dance.
It was, yeah. I mean, I was just getting really mad at myself not finishing well in certain tournaments, and which is kind of like just kind of making it happen. And so eventually I was like, all right, well, there's just nothing, again, I can't control it. All I can control is me playing good golf, and so that's what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then caddy-wise, that's been interesting over the last year. There's been a lot of influx or people coming and going. So who's your caddy currently, and give us some wonderful stories about Terry.
Yeah, so my current caddy is Terry McNamara. I mean, he's been caddying since he was in his 20s, so he's been caddying for over 40 years. But, his biggest and highlight would be Annika Sorenstam from 2000 until she retired in end of 2008.
It's a pretty good run.
Yeah, he had 69 total wins with her, 8 majors. He has 84 now total wins that he's caddied for. I mean, he's awesome. He's been great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been with me for 7 events now total, and I feel like I've learned so much in just those 7 weeks, and even off the off weeks as well. And then my husband has caddied for me as well this year, just kind of while I was in between trying to figure out what I was going to do. And not that Terry kind of fell on my lap, but he kind of a little bit did. I got connected with him through another caddy that I'm really good for, that I know, who's from Virginia, and him and Terry are very good friends. And Terry kind of wanted to caddy for me pretty much, which was obviously I took as a huge compliment that he clearly saw something that he wanted to be a part of and work with, and it's been amazing.
So describe that partnership a little bit, because people don't understand the caddy-player relationship. Like when they watch TV, most time caddies aren't even noticed.
Yeah.
But kind of explain a little of that relationship, and how do you see the caddy benefiting you and around?
I mean, they're your teammate out there, and they're someone who, if you can communicate well, and if if you guys get along well enough, they can save you shots. And not just in the strategy part of a golf course, but also like, for me, a lot of it's mental stuff, like not getting in my own way, trying too hard, not getting too anxious in certain situations. And so just having that open, being comfortable enough to be able to tell him when I'm feeling certain things and knowing that he's going to know what to say back to try to help me. That was kind of what he had said when we first started, just how important communication was. And with Annika, that was like what they were so good at, was just being able to communicate. And without that, he says, I can't always help, but I may not be able to help, but I definitely can't help if you don't tell me.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
And so that's kind of been what I remember. And it took a little bit to kind of, I think, really get there. Like, I remember our first week together was at Mizuho, and I made a pretty good birdie putt on the 14th hole, and I saw the leaderboard, and I mean, the leaders were still 5-6 holes behind me, but I was within like 1 or 2 of the lead, and I saw that, and I kind of got pretty excited and a little adrenaline, and I ended up making a couple bogeys coming in. Yeah. But I felt the adrenaline, even how little it was, I could feel it, and I didn't say it. And I remember texting him on my way home. I was like, I said that I had told you that I would tell you if I was feeling anything, and I didn't, and it won't happen again. Yeah. And so they're just like little things like that. But also, like, you just need to be able to hang out with them and enjoy their company, because like Kim was your work wife. It's like a relationship in of itself. You spend probably majority of my time with them, week in and week out, and so you need to be able to get along.
Yeah, I know with Kim, God, in season, I'd see her more than I would see my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it was with travel, and I mean, so yeah, I think having that complementary person that kind of completes what you're trying to be, but again, having a relationship is huge. What are your predictions for the remainder of the year? You have the Scottish coming up, then you have the Open. The Open. At St. Andrews, which is cool. So what do you see for the remainder of the season kind of leading into Solheim? Do you have any goals?
Well, Terry has been not joking, but kind of just putting in my head, even before Canada, that Lee Trevino won 3 Opens in a row in a 4-week stretch. So he won the Canadian Open, the Scottish Open, and the British all in a row. And so he's been trying to put that in my head, to get.
There's nothing wrong with that.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm, trying to win. That's what I'm trying to do now. But I'm obviously very excited for the Open at the Old Course. It's a once-in-a-career type opportunity, so I'm extremely excited to get to go and play the Open there.
Trevino, his strength was ball striking, just saying.
I know.
Just saying. So here's a fun tradition that we started. So I think it was 2 years ago. What major were you in on that weekend?
Congressional,
yes. Mm-hmm. So
at KPMG.
Yeah, we were on family vacation that week, and I had just gotten into the bourbon world and whiskey world. So I went to the whiskey shop, and we found Angel's Envy. And she played on Thursday. I bought a bottle on Thursday. She played well. We toasted her just for fun. And I'm texting with her husband, John. One thing I've learned, when players are in season and they're competing, I never text with them. Yeah. If they want a question or anything, they can text me, but I don't ever want to interfere with what you do. Mm-hmm. So I'm texting with John. I was like, I got this. And John is a bourbon head.
Very much so.
And he hates Angel's Envy because it's finished. And
he doesn't love the finish.
Which now that I know it, I kind of like the fact that we're doing it, because it kind of tweaks John a little bit. But I was like, this is good. So she played so well, and I was like, well, I'm not superstitious, but I'm not superstitious. So the next day I went out, and she played well, so we bought another bottle, and I said, this one's for LC. Mm-hmm. So we'll celebrate when she has really good tournaments. Mm-hmm. And she played really well, and she's in the mix. So the third day we went out and bought another bottle, just because, why not? And she played well again. Yeah. We went home on the next day, Sunday. Didn't have the finish she wanted.
No, I think this was actually Baltusrol, because this was last year.
Yeah. So didn't have the finish she wanted, and I didn't buy a bottle, so it was on me. Mm-hmm. I take full credit. But we created a bottle from that point forward. Said anytime that you create a top 10, we will toast it.
Take a sip from it. Yep.
So needless to say, the bottle sat there for a while. But it was getting close, so then we're like, maybe it's a top 15 bottle, maybe, no, we're going to keep it top 10. And so now I have a drinking problem. because Elsie has been hitting so many top 10s that I've actually I toast every time she creates a top 10, no matter where she is in the world. My wife and I will sit down and have a toast to Elsie's great performances. So without further ado, we're just going to have a quick toast. We're going to celebrate your win. And again, John, this is going to make you angry, but it's not about John. We don't care. So Angel Envy, if you're out there listening, we'll just go really light. You got work to do.
I do.
You got to fly to Scotland. Angel Envy, if you're out there listening, what a great representative of your brand. I'm not saying, but you might want to reach out to her, and I will tag Angel Envy. And all of you that listen, tag Angel Envy with this, and let's see if we can make this happen. But cheers to you, Elsie. Can you believe LPGA champion?
It's wild. My first one, I think that we did the first top 10 out of it was Canada last year.
It was.
So it's kind of funny how.
Yeah, it's full circle.
Full circle.
And Canada, you got to make a lot of birdies. That's
not the last 2 years.
That's true. But they changed courses, though, didn't they?
Yeah, they do change courses.
Yeah. I remember the other one was a birdie fest. It was like par 5 Arama.
Yeah, I think a couple of them have been, but the last 2 years has been super tight.
Yeah.
Super tight and very firm greens, and so which you got to hit it straight, which I do, and then you got to hit a lot of greens, which I also do. So.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this puppy up. Give me a reflection for all those junior parents and junior coaches and whatnot. What's the one big key that you've learned since 2017 to today on tour? What is the one thing that you're like, if I would have known this 7 years ago, it would have enhanced my enjoyment of the LPGA more than anything? And it doesn't have to be on the golf course. It could be any piece that you're like, man, if I would have just known this.
That's a good one. I would probably say how important just being happy off the golf course is. Like having a good, not taking so much stock in how I play on the golf course affecting my life off the golf course. That took me probably a couple of years to really figure out that just because you had a bad day on the golf course doesn't mean you need to be in a bad mood, doesn't mean, you just had a bad day at work that day, which a lot of people have bad days at work. And unfortunately, a lot of people get to see when I have a bad day at work.
That's true.
And, they might text me about it, but but most of the time, it's just work, and that's all it is. As much as I love golf, and it still is my job, and so I don't need to let that affect me off the golf course.
So golf is what you do, it's not who you are.
Exactly.
Brilliant. That is no matter what profession you end up in life, what you work is work, what you are is who you are. Yep. So don't let those two intermingle. We're going to do a fun game here. We're going to change the cameras around. I'll explain it to you. Now, what I've learned is everybody loves a good game. So we're gonna shoot a good game, and what we're gonna do is, I know I like whiskey. John likes whiskey. Elsie tolerates whiskey.
I enjoy it, but I'm not as
okay. But she's a tequila fan.
I do like tequila.
So we're gonna play a little competition game, and this bottle might have to change. So Angel Envy, you might have lost your opportunity. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a little competition game, and she'll have the ability to maybe change the actual drink of choice moving forward. It's called Whiskey Toss. And we'll show it. We're actually going to use my putting board. It'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to play a little game, and we'll record that and share it with you just for fun. So we'll see, LPGA player, definitely competitive. Old fat guy, nothing to live for. And these are my moments that I need to step up, because these are like drinking man Olympic games. Look at this.
Your moment's
I'm designed for this. I've put in 50 years of really bad lifestyle choices for this moment right here. So let's jump in here and have some fun. But thank you, Elsie, for joining us, and I wish you the best. And I'm excited to come watch you play at the Solheim.
Thank you, Ryan.
All right, cool.